Can I be honest with you? I'm not really someone who actually receives advice. I'm usually the one giving it. And I think a big reason for that is because I don't usually go to people with my problems. Mostly because I found that from a young age, a lot of people couldn't relate or even figure out how to relate to what I was articulating. So, I think I'm always looking for teachers through my life experience. So it's not that the best advice that I've ever gotten has come from a person, but more just from observing people. I find that you get closer to the essence of what you're looking for through observation, far greater than what anybody can articulate, because they have to filter through so many things in their mind, their own experiences, their own complexes, the things that they value. So I find that whatever comes out of their mouth tends to be a little bit diluted. And I say that even with the understanding that everything that I say will be diluted to you as well. And that's kind of the whole point. For example, actually, people in the public eye who value the ability to appear mysterious, worry about answering, for example, or even doing a series like this, right? But I recognize that I tell you all these answers to these questions, and all they are is answers to these questions. It has nothing to do really with who I am, or, it doesn't really give any real deep, meaningful insight into my true essence. Yes, you can try to decipher or maybe even make something more important than it really is, but at the end of the day, it's you using your own filter to try and understand my filter. So you'll always be inaccurate. And I think that's something that we should make peace with. I know this was a discussion about the advice that people have given to me, but ironically, I think I just gave even more advice. You know something? I think, because I want to answer this question seriously, right? Because I think it'd be easy for me to say oh, friggin', I don't know, just put a microphone in nature and there you go. But I'm gonna go with Homelands by Nit and Sonny. I think it's the combination of all the different influences in the song, and not just that, the pace or the tempo of the song is rather fast, but the instrumentation itself is rather calm, soothing, a little bit fun and flirty. And the Portuguese part at the end, talking about everything you need is, within yourself, and it will be there if it's necessary for it to be there. There's something about, relinquishing to the tides of destiny, recognizing them as a part of you, a part that you must syncopate to. Consciousness isn't in and of itself, right? The ability to be conscious does not mean that you should view yourself as separate from everything else just because you can actualize what it means to be singular, And that's a thought, honestly, that I could develop even deeper when it comes to the problems, or really the curse of what it means to be human. This idea that just because we can perceive ourselves and perceive our individuality, that we somehow think that the logical thing to do is to perceive ourselves as separate. But actually, consciousness and the ability to perceive separativeness is almost like a magical superpower that we must be mature enough to learn how to control and yield. But again, we'll discuss that and explore that another day. Yeah, and I think there's so many components to the song that I absolutely adore. It feels like rain. It feels like dancing in the rain in the middle of the street, not caring who sees you. But there's a sense of freedom, a sense of pace, but a demureness, a slight flirtation with connectedness and self-actualization in a way that isn't aggressive, It's just kind of yeah. That's the most, it's just, yeah. This is such a difficult question. I think that if we're talking about artists who, they haven't been around for, like, for example, they're not part of the legends, right? Because I could put Björk and Fiona Apple both in this category, but I feel like they've been around for so long that it's kind of unfair to put them or to use any of them as an answer. So I'm actually going to have to go with Tame Impala. Although, honestly, if Niall Horan can come out with anything that was even remotely similar to Heartbreak Weather, which, by the way, was it my 2020 list? It must have been 2020, where literally no word of a lie, my top 3 albums for that year were Heartbreak Weather, The Slow Rush, and Fetch the Bolt Cutters. So I think, see, Niall hasn't done enough as a solo artist for me to pick him. His first album to me was, listen, I don't want to be unnecessarily mean, so I'm not going to say my opinion on what I thought about that album. I don't even remember what it was called. Heartbreak Weather, on the other hand, though, in my personal opinion, the best solo 1D album. It deserved way more than it got. And some people, as I see from Niall Horan fans, are really upset with how the promotion for that album was treated, but Niall can take that up with his fans. So I will say Tame Impala. Definitely Tame Impala. If you're telling me not to count Tame Impala because Tame Impala is technically an indie band or an indie project, well, I'm going to tell you that I don't care and tell it to someone who does, okay? Oh, well, this was easy. Once Upon a December from the Anastasia soundtrack. Listen, that song, ever since I first heard it as a kid, struck something so deep within me. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It has stuck with me ever since. And anytime I think of a song that is a waltz, that song, especially if someone's asking me like, oh, what's a song that is part of one of your earliest memories or anything like that, Once Upon a December, 100%. That song, I have no words, so I'm gonna stop using mine. Oh, I am so glad you asked. Petrichor. Ever since I was little, the smell of rain, the smell of the earth after it rained, nothing beats it. Absolutely nothing. Well, I think there will always be a part of me that is always antsy to meet the next person that I will have a deep connection with, whether that be platonic or romantic. The idea of finding your family across the globe to me is just so endearing and one of the few things that, in my opinion, make being here worthwhile. Definitely sardonic. Can be sarcastic at times, dry. Yeah. Some people might say mean, but I say bitter. I think there's a difference.